Hello, you are listening to Bike Talk on Kill Radio, KPFK on the podcast. I'm Colin Bogart, the Education Director for the LA County Bicycle Coalition. We're pre-recording the show again this month. As you know, the second Saturday of every month is LACBC guest host, LA County Bicycle Coalition guest host for Bike Talk. And so this month, in the studio here with me is Greg Lemley, who is a board member of the LA County Bicycle Coalition and is the team captain for Team LACBC for the Climate Ride. What is the Climate Ride, you say? Well, that's the topic of this week's, or this episode of Bike Talk, is talking about Climate Ride. So, Greg, welcome.
Good to be here.
Welcome. So, you are the team captain. This is going to be your second year doing the Climate Ride.
That's correct. I heard about Climate Ride several years ago in the Rails to Trails magazine, and it just sounded like an amazing event. It was on the East Coast, but it was a ride from New York to Washington, D.C. To raise awareness about climate issues. And I was sitting at a board meeting, and Kelly Martin said, oh, and by the way, we're now an approved beneficiary for Climate Ride, and Climate Ride California is coming up.
Okay, so explain real quick what that means, because what is a beneficiary of the Climate Ride?
Good point. Okay.
In the context of the LA County Bicycle Coalition, of course.
Well,
Kelly's one of our staff members.
Yes. Climate Ride, a beneficiary organization. Climate Ride, individual riders raise funds to participate in the ride. But a portion of the funds that they raise goes to benefit other organizations, approved, mostly environmental organizations.
Nonprofits and the like.
Yes, so the National Resources Defense Council is an approved beneficiary organization. Sierra Club may be an approved beneficiary organization. So once I heard that LACBC, that I could ride and raise funds for LACBC and participate in the ride, it was like, absolutely, I'm there.
What's not to like about that, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I signed up, started going out and recruiting a few other people. Obviously, some other people had signed up as well. And Team LACBC, as it was last year, ended up being the top team in terms of fundraising.
Excellent.
I believe we raised $17,000 for LACBC.
And this is like from pledges, basically. People who said, okay, I'll pledge to support you if you do this ride.
That's correct. I want to do this ride. Will you help me? Or, I need to raise money. This is for the climate. It also benefits LACBC. And, people were happy to write those checks. A lot of it, I'm happy to support you.
Cool.
Was the response that I got from people. So it was an amazing experience for me personally. I think it was really great for LACBC to bring in a new source of funds, and also great to represent Los Angeles. Because the ride is largely Northern California people, and I don't have any problem with Northern California people, but I thought it was important to show that that there was a lot going on here in LA that was really exciting when people look at Los Angeles and think of us as being, completely
the car
and totally
capital of the country.
Exactly.
So it's a nice flies right in the face of that.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really great to get up there and represent that. No, Los Angelinos care about climate issues, care about sustainable transportation. That there are those of us here who are riding our bikes every day to work and doing all this kind of stuff, and just care about these issues. And so to represent for LA as well.
And so that was last year was the first year that we did it.
Yes.
And so now we're here talking about it again because we're gearing up for this year, Climate Ride 2014. And I know that you want to bring in some guests. We're going to call some people on the phone and have them talk about Climate Ride as well. Did you want to add anything else about your personal experience with Climate Ride that I haven't already asked you about in terms of your direct ride last year?
Well, last year...
Did I skip anything?
No. I mean, last year's route took us from Fortuna, which is in Northern California, through the Avenue of the Giants, the Redwoods, out onto the Mendocino coast, and then finished in San Francisco.
Oh, man. Sounds like
it was pretty
really
awesome,
beautiful
but
ride.
it was also pretty challenging.
Yeah.
I have to say, it was a 5 days, 320 miles. There was a Century Day with 7,000 feet of climbing up, from Fort Bragg way north of Fort Bragg. Sorry, anyway.
Up there.
From up there all the way down,
really up there.
Down to the Russian River in Jenner, and that was quite a day climbing out a Leggett Hill. Amazing scenery, but very challenging, and also difficult to clear. 6 days because there was some transit days as well. So it was difficult to clear that much time from your schedule. This year, the routes it's a 4-day ride. The route is, I think, still going to be beautiful, but it's different. And it should be a little easier for people to make this part of their schedule. So, but we'll bring on Blake Holliday. Who is the ride director.
Okay.
And he can tell us a little bit about Climate Ride and about the new route, which I don't know anything about.
All right, so we're going to get him on the phone right now.
All right, great.
Okay. Hi, Blake. Welcome to Bike Talk.
Hi there. It's great to be here.
Thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
Sure. Thanks for letting me come on the show, and I'm really excited to share some information about Climate Ride and what we're all about.
By all means, we take it away. Maybe, Greg, did you have specific questions you wanted to ask him about?
Well, Blake, I mentioned how several years before LACBC became a beneficiary organization, I had read about the ride, but tell us a little bit about the history.
Sure. My name is Blake Holliday. I'm the ride director, and I'm also a founding board member for the organization. We're a nonprofit, and we founded the Climate Ride in 2008, so it's just about 5 or 6 years ago. And the original idea, the two founders, Geraldine Carter and Kaylee Quinn, are two women from Montana, and they came up with an idea to kind of put together biking and climate, and trying to do some fundraising around that. There's a lot of great organizations out there that raise money for health-related issues and stuff, and nobody was really raising any money for either the climate or bicycle advocacy and groups like that. So we pretty much said, let's do it. And so the first ride was from New York to Washington, D.C. We ended at the steps of the Capitol, and we had about 110 people join us, and we raised about $150,000 that first year. And it was funny because at the end of it, they said, that was great. And I said, well, I have some ideas for next year. And they said, next year, we're doing this again? So it ended up becoming an annual event, and since then, in the last 5 or 6 years, we've given away, actually granted about $1.6 million out to climate and bike advocacy groups, groups like LACBC that are doing great work in their communities, and also national groups and groups across the country. So it's been quite an experience putting this all together. And we're pretty much the only ones who are kind of doing this kind of work, actually, getting folks to get out there and get inspired to ride their bicycles for causes that they care about, things like sustainability, renewable energy, bicycles. And I think that we sit at the intersection of where climate change is a big issue facing the world today, and we kind of firmly believe that bicycles are a huge part of the solution to climate change. And so that's where Climate Ride sits, kind of where the intersection of those two things happen. Everybody
in the room here is nodding their head right now. You can't see it, but we're all nodding our heads because we all rode our bikes here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, more people on bikes, less people in cars. So that we firmly believe that kind of stuff. And, it's definitely it's amazing to see what the organizations, right now you can choose from among 60 different organizations to support climate, to be supported if you sign up for a Climate Ride. And so it's amazing to see what these organizations actually are doing with the money. They're putting in bike lanes. They're they're teaching bicycle classes. They're getting more people on bicycles, and it's really just amazing to watch. How the money that people raise actually turns directly into action on the ground. So it's pretty amazing to us, and we're humbled every day by the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, one of the great aspects of the ride was every night we would sit and get to hear from some of the staff people from different organizations about what their groups were doing.
To kind of be a little bit of a TED on wheels kind of thing, which is, kind of like, hear a little bit about this and a little bit about that and all the different projects that people are working on. And so each night there's about an hour or so of presentations. And it's amazing the idea is to kind of bring people together and hear what's going on and figure out where people can work together. So, because a lot of the people in the climate area, they're working in climate or renewable energy, aren't necessarily working with the people who are working on bicycles, and yet we're all kind of striving toward the same goal, which is kind of a more sustainable future. So that's where it all comes together.
Yeah.
We did that New York ride for a couple of years, and then we decided to bring it up to California in 2010. And then we went big the next year too, and decided to go for both rides in the same year. They're both they were both at the time 5 days, about 300 miles each, and follows kind of the model of like the AIDS ride or any of those other kind of MS or any of the other kind of bike rides, where people raise money, they register, they get a fundraising page, and then they pretty much do peer-to-peer fundraising and get people to support them on their to get out there and bike. And they're challenging, that's for sure. How did you think the ride was last time, Greg?
I thought the ride was amazing. I mean, but it definitely was challenging.
Yeah, we try to make it challenging for people, and we try to, all of us used to work for Backroads Bicycling, and so we're all bike professionals. We've put together some amazing trips around the world. So a lot of the places that we stop into we always try to create something interesting during the day, versus just, a parking lot as a water stop or a lunch stop. We always try to pick a museum or something cool that people can stop and, check out. So as we're riding.
That sounds fantastic.
Right, but the ride is completely, I felt totally supported on the ride, and it was, I'm not carrying gear. You drop your bag off in the morning, get on your bike, load up with, food. Everything's, prepared for you, and that was just amazing. I mean, it's not quite like Backroads, I guess, but it was great.
I'm glad to hear that. Actually, we have a staff of about 25 people that come on the ride, as mostly volunteers, actually, and give about 9 days of their time to make it all happen. And it's like you said, they staff the water stops. They always have mechanics and massage therapists, and people take your luggage for you. You drop it off at the luggage truck. So the idea is to get people out on their bikes to kind of network with each other and have a great time and get inspired by what they're seeing and what they're experiencing, so that they can then take that back home and inspire their community.
Yeah. So, now, I mean, I know that there are opportunities to stay in hotels or motels, but one of the best part of the experiences was camping out with everybody. Because you're just able to the camaraderie with the group was awesome.
Yep, I totally agree. It's fun around camp at night for sure. There's always a hotel option too, so we kind of try to accommodate everybody. Some people definitely don't like to sleep on the ground after riding 60 miles a day or so, which I can understand. But at the same time, you're right. The group really, with about 150 to 200 people, it's just enough people to feel like you've met everybody. Or at least you recognize everybody as you're walking around or bike riding with them and stuff. So there's always somebody new to meet. And honestly, I'm consistently surprised by, if you get beyond saying hello to somebody, and you usually do because you're sitting there eating breakfast and lunch and dinner, or, you're out on a bike with them, you find out these amazing projects that they're working on. They might be, getting people together to create, new legislation for bicycles in Sacramento, or they might be researching all the different ingredients to make sure that they're, in a tractor that to make sure that they're all sustainable. All the things that go into making a tractor, and that's their whole job. So you just never know who you're going to meet on the climate ride. It's really kind of an amazing mixture of people who have a lot of different interests and jobs and stuff. So
absolutely. And unlike some of these other group rides, I would say that alcohol is not encouraged necessarily, or not even provided, but is not discouraged from being in the campground. So
I see.
There is that little bit of social lubrication that happens as well.
Well, I always like to say that bikes and beer, not only do they both start with B, but they're both, they work together pretty well, in terms of having a beer after your ride. And especially in this year's ride, because, for the last couple of years, we've taken people down the North Coast, California's North Coast, from Eureka to San Francisco. And this year we're introducing a new route, and so my plans are to have a new route, kind of rotate between routes each year. Like maybe do one up in Chico, maybe do one in different places in California. But this year's California ride is a whole new route, and it's 4 days. It's May 17th through the 23rd, and it's going to be a really exciting ride to me because it's all about California wine country, and also arriving in Sacramento, as the capital of California, and making a big statement there about the need for bicycle advocacy and for better climate legislation. So that kind of stuff is just awesome. The new route is starting out in San Francisco and ending in Sacramento, and it's a bit easier than that North Coast. I don't know if anybody out there has ridden that Leggett Hill or has ridden some of those hills going between Eureka and San Francisco. I mean, it's stunning, beautiful country, but it's also pretty tough, challenging riding for sure.
There's a fair amount of pro riders who've trained in that area, and there's even some pro races that go through there from time to time.
I bet, yes. Well, the nice thing is you don't have to carry your gear. A lot of people go, along that route. Thousands of people, go along that route.
Oh, yeah, the thru rider, sure. We saw a bunch of them.
You passed them.
Not as fast as I would have liked. But no, give us a day-by-day breakdown of the route this year.
Hey, no problem. That's an easy one. I'm really excited about it. We've done a lot of research and have put together what I think is a pretty stunning trip. It's kind of our wine country version. It's a lot of people think San Francisco to Sacramento. Well, you're going to ride along 80? I mean, what's going on? But we're kind of meandering up, over the Golden Gate Bridge and stuff, and over through wine country, and then up across the Central Valley into Sacramento. First day, 58 miles, San Francisco to Petaluma. We're going to go to Nicasio Valley, stop at a cheese factory, that kind of stuff. So we'll pedal, through Marin City, and hopefully we'll have some people cheering us on as we go through. Elevation gain across the whole ride that day is about 2,100 feet or so. So it's not a crazy adventure ride, but it's going to be really beautiful. We camped that night at a KOA near Petaluma. There's like cabin options and stuff. And there's also an optional trip over to the Lagunitas Brewing Company, which is only a mile from our camp, which is awesome. So
I'm sure there'll be people motivated to do that.
Speaking of bikes and beer.
Speaking of beer.
Yeah, they have a great tap room, and so it's very bicycle friendly. So we're really excited about stopping into that location. Let's see. Then the next day is about 63 miles as planned right now. We kind of meander up through Sebastopol, hug the Russian River for a little bit, and then we're really into, like Russian River wine country and Healdsburg, all through that area there. 2,300 feet of elevation gain, and almost all of that is in the last hill, because we have to kind of get over from Santa Rosa to Calistoga. And our camp for that night is actually a retreat center up in the mountains above Calistoga. It's going to be really awesome up there. So, nice climb at the end of the day. But the good news is the next morning you get to go down a screaming downhill into Calistoga, which is fun. 50 miles through Napa Valley. And I'm still working out details on exactly where we're going to be stopping, but I'm hoping to stop into some sustainable wineries, set up a great picnic spot, have like a classic wine country picnic with lots of goodies and stuff there. And we end up at a camp right above Napa, the town of Napa, actually. It's kind of a hidden gem. Most people don't know there's a campground actually right near Napa. But it's called Skyline Wilderness Park, and it's just a stunning view of right up the whole Napa Valley from up there. So, and it's not really high up, which is great. Only about 740 feet of elevation gain during that whole day.
Wow.
So, pretty flat. Yeah.
That's very reasonable. That way you don't spill your wine.
Yeah, exactly. We will carry your wine. So if you buy wine along the way, you can put it in the
They will. They did.
It will. It's true. We have, it's usually like the cocktail hour is usually right after the ride, right before dinner.
Perfect.
So, yeah. Also, too, and we do like directional signage and that kind of stuff. So there's like signs at every turn, and people ride at their own pace. So you don't have to feel like you're in a giant group of cyclists. You can pretty much, go with friends, or you can meet up with new people, or you can ride on your own. But you're given written directions, and then there's also turn by. Every turn has a sign at it.
Yeah, the signage last year was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the route slips were great, and the route wrap in the morning was very helpful. But even if you were slept through the route wrap and forgot to bring your sheet, you could find your way.
I see.
Great. Yeah, we have like a ride news as well, so it kind of keeps people on track, and lets people know what's going on during the day. But we definitely try to keep people informed. So
I would think also that a lot of groups just sort of naturally form so that people can ride together.
They do. I mean, we definitely have the hammerhead riders, and we definitely have the kind of moderate riders, and then we also have what I call sightseers, who are the people who like to take it all in, as they're riding. You pretty much have all day to get to camp. It's just it's a matter of daylight. As soon as daylight is gone, then we have to pull you off the road. But it almost never gets to that point.
Uh-huh.
We'll have plenty of time all day to make it. And with mileages at about 60 miles a day, it's pretty much like 15 miles and then a water stop, and then another 15 at lunch, and then 15 and another water stop, and then you're into camp.
Yeah.
So when you have all day to bike, it's really easy.
This sounds very
and you do
reasonable.
have SAG for the hills for people who don't want to climb.
It's true. If you flag down a support vehicle, they will take you up a hill. It's true. No shame in taking that vehicle as well. So everybody has their days.
That's
sure.
right.
And, to be honest, a lot of people aren't really used to riding 60 miles, that many days in a row. Even if you train, you might get a couple of 50s or 60s in, over a weekend. But to do 4 days of 60-mile days definitely takes its toll sometimes. So we always encourage people to train up. We have a pretty comprehensive training plan on our website. And there's also a lot of groups that do training rides and things. Like if you sign up for different beneficiaries and stuff, oftentimes in your local area you can sign up for a training ride and stuff. So there's always a lot of support out there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things as team captain that I will do as people sign up. We'll encourage them or invite them to join for training rides.
Great, yeah. That's awesome. That's always great because you also get to meet people ahead of time, which is really nice.
Yep.
When you know a few people, 10 or 12 people from your training rides, and then you come on the bigger rides, and there's a lot of familiar faces and stuff. And honestly, it's one of the most friendly groups I've ever been involved with. People are just so open and friendly during the ride. No one ever, I don't think, has to feel like they're on their own. There's always somebody to talk to. So.
Right.
But anyway, getting back to the route itself, the last day, day 4, May 20th, is 72 miles, and it's mostly flat. We're going from Napa to Sacramento. We got a pretty big climb in the morning, so you got to get up and over, basically over the hill there by the reservoir, and then heading down into the Central Valley there, and then it's a just big chain ring ride. So you can definitely crank across the
Delta.
Yep, the Delta, exactly. We do have a stop in Davis, and we're going to stop at the U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame, which is pretty awesome. I don't know if anybody knows that it was there, but it is. So we'll stop into there and then hit the last 30 miles or so into Sacramento before we'll probably gather a couple miles out and have everybody ride in together in a big peloton. So it's always a good experience there at the end, especially going to a place like the capital of a state, because there's a giant building, a big white building, and everyone's really kind of hooting and hollering, and it becomes what we call the green peloton.
Uh-huh.
So, and then we'll arrive at the Capitol, and we have steps there reserved for talks and stuff. And so we're trying to get some representatives to speak, and we'll hear from some other speakers as well, and then wrap it up there. There's an optional shuttle back to San Francisco that night, or you can stay and lobby the next day if you want to, if you wanted to advocate for, say a carbon tax or more money for bike lanes or whatever it is. You could stay in Sacramento and talk to your representative there the next day.
And I'm curious, is that lobby day, is that tied in with the lobby day that CalBike is organizing?
Actually, CalBike is involved with the Advocacy Day, and they are doing that work to get the carbon tax to fund bicycle projects in California. Yep, absolutely. So, between East Bay Bike Coalition and CalBike, they're working together to help us get that set up.
Terrific.
Well, we'll get on that here at LACBC, too.
It's kind of like a make your voice heard kind of thing. Like, it makes a difference. I mean, we experienced this in Washington, D.C., because the New York, D.C. ride ends up in D.C., too. And we actually schedule meetings with Congress members and senators there. And the idea is that you walk into their office and you say, I just biked 250 miles for bicycles. I just biked 250 miles for the climate. And they really kind of listen.
Uh-huh.
When you say that you biked to their office from New York or from San Francisco, that kind of gets their attention. So that's just kind of opens the door, and I think they listen more strongly to people who are, that dedicated. So I think it makes a pretty big impact. That's a good thing.
No, that sounds like a great strategy. Not to mention the fact that Sacramento itself, I've been there a few times lately, and it's a pretty fun town to just spend a little time there anyway.
Yeah, it is. I'm actually really surprised, because I've gotten to spend a bit more time up there working on this event. And I'm really surprised by all the little surprises up there. It's a beautiful city. Everyone's really friendly. There's a lot of great places to eat and hang out. And, the capital is beautiful. I stayed on the Delta King riverboat one night. Really exciting. Actually, I had a little cabin and very fun. So it's one of those kind of hidden gems of California that you don't really think about. But once you're there, it really kind of opens up as an exciting experience.
So what are the dates again?
The dates for the California ride this year are May 17th through the 20th, so it's about 3.5 months away, which is just enough time to fundraise and train. So I'd say that's plenty of time, actually.
Absolutely. And where do we get more information, and how do we sign up?
Sure. You can go to climateride.org online, and there you can find more information about that ride as well as our new Midwest ride in September, our typical one in New York City, D.C. Also in September, we are doing a climate hike for the first year in Glacier National Park, and we also have independent climate challenges where you can go and raise money. You can do an event. You can jump rope for the climate. Or bicycle. You can do anything pretty much. You can bake cakes for the climate and bicycle, and then use our software to do the fundraising and stuff. And that's anytime, anywhere. And you can pick a great beneficiary like LACBC as well for that. So climateride.org is the spot to go.
And if someone wants to make sure that they're part of Team LACBC, how do they make sure to do that when they sign up?
Sure. When they register, they will choose a beneficiary organization, and you can choose 1 or 60 if you want. But we always recommend that you choose maybe 1 to 3 at the most, just to make sure that your fundraising dollars actually make more impact. And, of course, LACBC is doing such great work. I definitely recommend signing up to help support their mission. So.
As do I.
Why, thank you. And then just one other point of detail. I was curious. There's these kinds of rides. There's typically like a minimum that people have to raise. I'm sure people are wondering about that.
Yep, absolutely. There's a $100 registration fee, and then you have to raise a minimum of $2,800 to come on the ride. We have people far exceed that for sure. I mean, people even like Greg. I mean, people raise $4,000, $5,000, $10,000. And honestly, the fundraising, as you'll probably hear later in the program, is really not as difficult as you might think. When you start people really actually want to support events like this and causes like this. It's just that not a lot of people ask for money for the climate or for bicycles, and so I think people are. I always ask people on the rides, how was your fundraising? How did it go? And across the board, the people say, I can't believe how easy it was. I sent out a few emails. I always talk about this one person who she went to her gym and she got out the stationary bike and she asked the people who owned the gym, can I put this in the lobby because I'm raising money and training? And so she did. She put the stationary bike in the lobby of the gym and put out a basket, like literally her bike basket on the front, and raised about $600 in 2 days just from sitting there biking and saying, help me, with my ride. So it's amazing the stories you hear, but it's a totally achievable, and most of the money goes to the organizations that you want to support. So, yeah.
And we had some fun incentives last year for passing certain goals in terms of fundraising as well. Will that sort of repeat?
Oh yeah, definitely. We get prizes donated, and there's all kinds of things like a lot of bike gadgets and a lot of bike gear, that kind of stuff. We had one of our prizes I love, was one of my favorites, was we have a trick out your bike package, and so it was good for I think about $250 worth of tricking out your bike stuff at Sports Basement. So,
yeah, and as I recall, that was for the number of donors someone had, not even for the amount that they raised. So there's opportunities just for
we try to get creative with the fundraising. So, we don't just look at like who raised the most, we do things like who had the most number of donors and, who raised the most this week and that kind of stuff. Who had the farthest donation, where did it come from? Stuff like that, to try to keep things interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like the multiple jerseys in the Tour de France or something. There's different categories. It keeps things interesting, and different people win for different things.
That's right. Actually, we do have a green
total
jersey.
race analogy, I know, but
No. I mean, but those of us that we got to wear our green jerseys on one day for hitting a certain level of fundraising, and it wasn't, and there were a bunch of us, and everybody was like, "Way to go! I'm going to get that next year."
That's terrific.
So, and I know down here we're planning to do some stuff for our team LACBC riders as well. So there'll be some, hopefully, some cool jerseys for people who sign up to be part of Team LACBC.
Excellent.
terrific. All right. Well, Blake, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it, and this just sounds fantastic. I'm excited.
Great. Well, I'm glad to hear that, and thanks so much for having me. And we hope to see you out there on the road.
All right.
Terrific. Thanks, Blake.
Thanks. Cheers. So that was Blake. What's Blake's
Blake
last
Holiday.
name? Blake Holiday from the Climate Ride.
Yeah, and the staff there is really amazing. Blake's great ride director. It was fabulous. Geraldine and Kaylee, who are the founder members of Climate Ride, are terrific, doing great work. Andrew in the Climate Ride office is always really helpful with people who had questions. And the website, climateride.org, is really easy to navigate and made my life as team captain, made my life as an individual fundraiser really easy. So check it out, climateride.org. One word.
And so now we're going to turn to a brief conversation with the LA County Bicycle Coalition's Executive Director, Jennifer Klausner. Because LACBC being a beneficiary of this organization, we thought it would be great to have Jen join us in this conversation and sort of give us a heads up on what all this means for the LA County Bicycle Coalition as an organization. So, Jen, we've got you on the phone. Hello.
Hello. Thanks, you guys, for having me on.
Thank you for taking the time. So, last year, as a beneficiary, we received $17,000. We received $17,000.
A little bit over $17,000, actually.
All right.
Okay.
But yes, that was a substantial contribution on the part of Climate Ride to LACBC, and we're excited to be part of the really great set of causes that they support. We love that they're doing a bicycling-related event and really making it something so important for people to do, something that becomes a memory for their whole lives, and that they're doing that around bicycling, but supporting causes that really resonate with so many people.
Absolutely. Now, I shouldn't say clearly, but one of my concerns as a board member when we became involved, Jen, this is Greg, was that the money that I'm raising now, not 100% of the dollars are going to LACBC. It's a percentage, but at the end of the day, I felt like I was able to be more effective as a fundraiser because it was for the climate and not specifically for LACBC, or that's what I was able to tell people. And everybody wants to support the climate, well, almost everybody, everybody I asked.
That's good to know, because a lot of times that environmental message gets lost or glossed over in so much else that we do that's in, the areas of, complete streets in the public space or in the public health space. We're not always talking about the environmental benefits of bicycling, but I think it's really, Climate Ride has hit on a perfect match there with the causes that they are behind and then doing a bicycling event around them.
Not to mention that it is a little easier to ask for funds when you're doing something that's considered to be something of an athletic challenge.
Yep.
That's a well-trodden path in terms of doing individual fundraising.
Now, the other thing I wanted to point out, and maybe this is something I think from our perspective as a nonprofit organization that we see implicitly, and maybe people need to understand, is that this is unrestricted funds. When this money comes in, it's not like a grant where you have to accomplish a specific project. If I understand correctly, this is funding that can go towards whatever goals we are most heavily focused on at the time. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Colin. There are so many things that we're involved in, whether they are grants or contracts, but where there is a specific deliverable involved in receiving that grant or that contract. And we try to keep our portfolio of such things within keeping with our mission. But a lot of times the restrictions in terms of timing or in terms of activities limit what we can do, and having unrestricted funds frees us up to really make sure that what we're doing is on target with our mission.
So what are some of the initiatives that these unrestricted funds could help provide for in 2014?
Well, there are a lot of planning activities that are happening within the city of Los Angeles. We have the development of a neighborhood bike ambassador program. So we're looking at developing advocates and representatives from different areas of the city. And on a county level, we have right now 10 local chapters. So we really are growing into our name, Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition, by having those chapters in various cities throughout the county, 88 cities within LA County. So we want to make sure that, people who ride bikes in those places are represented. That is the kind of thing that we don't have direct funding for. So when we're looking to grow that countywide representation, when we're looking to develop our neighborhood bike ambassadors, that's one example of the kind of thing that we can really put those unrestricted funds to good use for.
And just getting more and more people to ride bikes all over LA County.
Well, no, but it's important. The neighborhood bike ambassadors and the local chapters are all doing great stuff, but they're volunteers. So to have a staff member that can assist them, can coordinate their activities, is just super, super important. And there are a lot of challenges right now. So I've been there, and seeing the work that the staff is doing, but it's a big county, and we could use some more bodies.
Definitely. We could always use some more bodies. We could always use some more members. And we could always use some more people who are willing to put the effort out there and do something great like Climate Ride. It's great that we're a beneficiary for that, but I think, for everybody who participates in Climate Ride, whether they're on Team LACBC or not, those folks are the reason we do what we do, and we're working for them every day, just as we know that you guys are out training every day for big events.
Almost every day.
Almost every day, that's right.
I rode 3 miles to work. Is that training?
That counts. Every mile counts. Every partial mile counts. And definitely, I think you should get double mileage for riding to work. So.
Thanks, Jen. Well, we're hoping to recruit 15 riders this year, Jen, just so you know, and I want Team LACBC to raise $50,000 total. Now, that's not all going to go to LACBC, but I think that if we can do that, that's going to be a significant improvement upon what we did last year for the organization. And really
I think it'll be an amazing experience for those 15 people, something that they will never forget.
How many people did we have on the team last year?
We had, I believe, 9 or 10 riders. And a couple of them had split their beneficiary designation, so they weren't all 100% for LACBC. Uh-huh. But it'll be an increase. There's no question.
Got it. And this year will be 15.
15
LACBC all the way.
And Jen, I hope we can get one staff member on the ride.
I think that we might have staff members vying over that.
I was about to say, I think there's
that's going to be a popular opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there's actually an informal wrestling match happening sometime in the next week or two to figure out who gets to be on the
If we can sell tickets to that, that'll fund the ride.
There you go. Always thinking.
Absolutely. Well, Jen, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much for including me.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.
Too blind to know the best. Hurrying through the forks without regrets. Different now, every step feels like a mile. All the lights seem to flash and pass you by. So, how's it gonna be when it all comes down to cycling trivialities?
All right, for those of you who might just be tuning in, you're listening to Bike Talk on Kill Radio, KPFK on the podcast. We're pre-recording this program. I'm Colin Bogart, the Education Director for the Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition, and this is the second Saturday of the month. Second Saturday of the month on Bike Talk means that LACBC is guest hosting the program. And today we've been talking about the Climate Ride, and I've got here in the studio with me Greg Lemley, board member of the LA County Bicycle Coalition and the team captain for Team LACBC for the Climate Ride. Thanks again, Greg, for taking the time to do this.
My pleasure.
I know you're a busy man.
Right.
So we just spoke with Jennifer Klausner, the executive director for the Bike Coalition, and we also spoke with Blake, the ride director. Thought it would be nice. We agreed it would be nice to have a conversation with some of the folks that did the Climate Ride with you next year.
That's right.
So maybe you'd like to get some of these folks on the phone. We've got them on the line.
Yep.
And maybe you can introduce them for us.
We have Kathy Gilardi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kathy. And we have
Kathy.
Lori Gilardi.
Hello.
And also Michael Rippens.
Hi there.
Hey there, Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right. Terrific. So you all were participants last year, 2013, in California Climate Ride. So thank you for your support and your participation. I don't know if you guys know, but we together as a team raised a little over $17,000 for LACBC.
All right.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, very useful funds for the organization.
As a staff member, I thank you.
And as a board member, I thank you.
It's a very fun way to raise money.
It's true. I almost felt guilty asking people to donate, begging them to donate because I was having such a great time. But obviously people have some concerns when they sign up to do something like this. So, Kathy, why don't you tell us, you had already signed up even before I signed on last year. Both you and Lori had signed up. But what was one of your biggest concerns about participating on Climate Ride?
I think just the amount of miles that we had to ride kind of scared me, especially since I'm a runner. And not cycling is not my first love. It's more my second or third or fourth, maybe. But so I was a little afraid of the amount of miles and the hills for sure, because I am a runner. And I think
before you signed up for Climate Ride, what was probably like the longest ride you had ever done?
Wow, probably 15 miles. To be honest with you.
Yeah. So to go from that to 6 days, 5 days of 60 plus miles a day.
So I wasn't a big cyclist. I mean, obviously now to go 35 miles is nothing after doing Climate Ride. You know, that's so easy because, on Climate Ride we were doing 60, 70, 75 miles a day. So definitely I'm in better shape. For sure. And now I can bike and run instead of just one sport. So,
now, when did you start training?
Wow, after the marathon. So the LA Marathon was in March, and I think I started training then. So I really only trained for 2 months. But yeah,
and
maybe I cycled a little bit before then, but no long runs.
Mm-hmm.
And so. I probably rode 3 to 4 days a week, with my longest ever, and this is kind of unbelievable. I think the longest we did was 35 miles. So the 60 miles on Climate Ride was initially a little shocking, to say the least. But I'd probably recommend people, at least do the 60-miler before you go on the trip. And not do like I did, because it was pretty painful not being not as fit as everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Now, you and Kathy have a couple kids, but were you able to train together?
Oh, Lori and I?
Lori and I, sorry, forgive me.
Yes. Yeah, we trained together, but Lori's a better cyclist than I am and was already doing longer miles, so I had to kind of start on my own a little bit initially and then move towards cycling with her. So, I don't know. What do you think, Lori?
Yeah, I think you did do a little extra training. Well, just because my cycling was sort of incorporated into my life. I did commute back and forth to work, which wasn't really a long ride, but kept me riding more often, more days per week, with, a couple of longer rides. But we really didn't have the time to consistently train 40, 50, 60 miles at a time because of having the kids and that taking such a huge chunk out of the day. I had participated in a couple of half centuries in the year prior to Climate Ride, but we really weren't doing big, long rides, and certainly nothing back-to-back.
Mm-hmm. But even with these fears, Kathy, I mean, once you were on the ride, how did you feel?
I felt great. Even though I hadn't trained, I think, as much as everybody else, I was slower than a lot of people, but it really didn't matter because you have the whole day to complete the ride. And so, while people might have been getting in at 1 or 2, I was coming in at, 3 or 4, and it was okay. It was
shorter line for the showers at that point.
Yeah, I had a few cold showers because we were loud, but that was okay. Yeah, it was great. It was a tremendous amount of fun for sure. Mm-hmm. And while it was painful, it was probably the most memorable experience in my life.
Yeah, Lori, talk to us about sharing this as a couple. I mean, is that something you?
Greg?
Oh, yeah, Michael?
Could I jump in just to make a comment about kind of the distances?
Oh, yeah, please.
So, yeah, it definitely helps, looking at, like those 60, 80, even the century ride day there were rest stops every, 15, 20, 25 miles. And if you just look at it as, I'm just going to do a 20-mile ride, which we've all done before in our training, and then you can rest, get water, use the facilities, stretch, and then you do another 20-mile ride to the next stop or to lunch. And, it really helps break up the day, like, mentally. Mm-hmm. So you're not like, oh, my God, how am I going to do 80 miles? It's like, so immense.
Yeah.
So that helped me a lot, certainly, in this ride and then, and doing longer rides in the past.
Yeah, and again, the route this year is definitely, it's 1 day less. It's only 4 days, and it's shorter each day. So it's we went over this with Blake, but they're like 60-mile days, and I think he said at most 2,000 feet of elevation.
Yeah.
Now that's Blake measuring, and as we all know,
never quite worked out that way.
Yeah, that 4,000 foot century day turned into 7,000 feet for everybody who had Strava. But still, I think it's going to be an easier ride this year. But
I also have to comment that as somebody who bikes and does not run, that for me it's kind of interesting to hear you describing about
after I finished the marathon.
Yeah, I'm thinking, wait a second, she did a marathon and she's worried about riding a bike? It's like running's hard. I find running to be that hurts. That's why I ride a bike. But so I think the gist of it here really is that it's doable. It's doable, right. And you can break it up into pieces and you ride at your own pace.
Yeah.
That's very, very, very true. Very true. Like Mike said, breaking it up into little pieces throughout the day helped tremendously. Definitely the stops and the refueling stations throughout the day, the water breaks, helped so much. And then the few days that we, got oysters and had beer on the water, that helped too.
I think you're going to have to tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Fill in the blanks.
Like,
those
food
were
tour,
some
basically.
tremendous days. I think, what day was that, you guys? Day 3, I think, that we...
I think it was
it
day
3?
Day four.
Yeah,
Day
so-
four was
Day
was,
four.
was
It was
Drake's
a
Bay
very
Oyster
nice-
Company. Yeah.
It was a very,
Ice cream,
very
coffee
nice
shop.
day of gourmet coffee and gourmet ice cream to cheeses and oysters, and by the end of the day, beer and wine. So we had a full day of tasting the culture along the coast there. It was very fun.
That was actually the day I got into camp the latest.
Yeah. 'Cause you had already been there
We just
first.
kept stopping and refueling, as we like to say, right?
Yeah, refueling.
I was going to say, it doesn't sound like you guys did much riding that day.
I think the day I got into the camp, the earliest was the New Belgium day when when there was free tasting.
Oh, yeah,
Ah.
that's true. Yeah, that was very fun. That was very fun.
Ride is sounding better and better.
Now, the other big fear that a lot of people have is fundraising. And Michael, you were one of the last riders to sign up. I think you signed up probably around the beginning of April. Is that correct?
Right, yeah, I had about a month, I think, to raise money, so that was certainly my biggest concern. But I mostly took care of it online, so through social media. I was posting on Facebook, and then, also kind of thanking people and doing like a little countdown on my page, emails, and that was the bulk of the effort online that I did. And then also through a kind of a fundraising party, which was kind of turned out to be really successful, and had a karaoke machine set up in a friend's backyard, and had people over and made some food and had drinks, and also had like a little silent auction. And Greg was generous enough and donated a bunch of things that I could auction off, and other people donated items. So yeah, that was a fun kind of social thing that didn't take that much effort and raised a lot of money as well.
As I recall, you also did something at the April Ciclavia.
Oh, right, yeah. It just so happened that there was a Ciclavia in that month while I was fundraising. And, of course, I had fundraising on the mind, so every opportunity I'm like, how can I turn this into raising money for Climate Ride? So I always go out on Ciclavia and usually volunteer to help people, like do a route angel where you're riding around and seeing if anyone needs, help with fixing their chain or fixing a flat tire or something. So basically, I just went out with a box with the Climate Ride logo on my bike and strapped a floor pump to my back, and just did what I always do at Ciclavia and just help people change tires and fix their bikes, but asked for a couple bucks of a donation to Climate Ride as a tip for helping them out. And I probably only raised about $20 that day for Climate Ride, but I handed out cards with information on the ride. And people who I helped out went onto the my Climate Ride page website after the fact, and I probably raised about $100 in donations from perfect strangers that I just met that day at Ciclavia.
Nice.
Excellent. That's great.
Awesome. I didn't know that story. That's awesome.
Really surprising.
Kathy and Lori, I know you had some concerns about fundraising since, obviously a lot of the same friends and family, and hard to get people to donate to you both. But how did it go?
Well, yeah, it was kind of tough, and we did have concerns, and we sort of had to divide up family and say, okay, you take them, or the people might split the amount that they were going to give and give us each half. It was a challenge for us, but in the end, people came through. I think we, sought out people at work as well. They were very helpful in getting us to our goal. What do you think, Cass?
Yeah, we did split people. We had to. It was very, very funny. Be like, hey, yeah, you take her, and I'll take this over here. So, but it still took us a couple months. It wasn't like Mike where we got to do it in a month. We did use social media as well. We used email. We didn't have to do everything Mike did because we did take longer, so we didn't have to hand out cards or ride Ciclavia or anything like that. Do a dance with the bike pump.
The dancing I did for free, yeah.
Oh.
So
it's performance art for Michael.
Yeah.
But
Actually, I did Cyclavia, but we didn't raise any money.
Well, it's $2,800 this year, and one way of looking at it, I mean, $100 ask is a big ask, but it's basically about finding, 50 people or something like that, 50 to 100 people that'll give you $25 to $100. And I don't know. I didn't even have to do individual emails to some extent. It was really about sending out those group emails, probably 2 or 3 times to a full list. And then when when people give you a donation, you thank them on Facebook. You mention all the people that have given when you send out that next group email, and people want to participate. They want to help you out.
I think social media is hugely helpful, and like you said, when mentioning people when people donate makes other people think about helping you out as well and wanting to be a part of.
Yeah, someone is. Oh, sorry, Michael.
Sorry. I also invited a bunch of friends to come along with me, who I knew were cyclists or might enjoy the experience. And when they couldn't make it, then they donated money.
That was good.
But I'll support you. So that kind of helps.
All right.
So the strategy is invite friends that you know can't make it. Is that it?
Yeah, just make sure that they have plans for that week, and really put the hard press. So you'd love for them to be there.
All right, I love it.
Now, but also imagine it's somebody, because I obviously haven't done Climate Ride yet. The staff is still going to fight over who gets to go, but years ago I did AIDS Life Cycle, and I found that when you sent out emails, and Facebook wasn't a big deal back then, but when you sent out emails, those things get forwarded, and people donate that you've never. I don't even know who. I remember I got donations from people that I had no idea who they were. And I'm curious if you had the same thing happen to you. I know, Michael, you mentioned that you got donations from Cyclavia for people that you didn't know. But Lori and Kathy, I'm kind of curious if, by using social media and email, did you get donations from people like, who are these people? I mean, it's great, but who are they?
No, I don't recall that happening to us. I would have been really excited.
I'm sorry.
Come on, maybe 1 or 2. Well,
come on.
No. We knew everybody.
Now LACBC did do blog posts, like interviews with the individual team members, and maybe that money didn't come in from that, but hopefully that was something that you were able to forward to people and make it, a little more public about, or put a different face on what on what you were doing as part of the event. Look, hey, if you got some ideas about how LACBC can help with that, I'm sure they're game.
Yeah, just stuff it in the suggestion box.
Send me a private message.
Yeah, don't.
I know at the last minute, as people were like, I was as team captain, I was like watching everybody's fundraising. It's like, oh, that person just needs $200 more. And at some point, I posted on Facebook that hey, just help out this rider.
Get him up over the top.
I think my brother didn't donate to my ride, but he did donate to someone else's. Anyway,
that's a good thing.
How about favorite memory of the ride, or something you'll always you'll carry with you? And you guys, I'm putting that out there.
I have one. What on the day that we went through the
Redwood,
the Avenue of the Giants, yeah.
Yeah, Avenue of the Giants. It was, at times a little bit of a challenge, but also really just kind of awe-inspiring going through the trees. And when we got to the end, coming out and looking out over the ocean was just breathtaking and amazing and kind of emotional. And for me, I made it ahead to that point before Kathy, and I decided to stop and wait for her to get through the redwoods and reach that point, looking out over the ocean. And I waited, and she finally came along, and it was very emotional. To see her come through that area that I knew probably had to be tough for her because it was tough for me, and to share that moment of seeing the ocean coming out of the redwoods. So that for me was a really special moment and day.
Mm-hmm.
I was just happy to see the top. That's all. No, the ocean was beautiful, but I remember that hill coming out of the redwoods was, I think, 2 miles, maybe more, switchbacks back and forth that were pretty steep, and so I was hurting. And then to meet Lori at the top, I think I cried. That was the one time I cried, like, I made it, because I had to get off, and I think I was running with my bike. So
I think I forgot. I mean, you know, obviously there were not.
You guys are laughing. That was funny.
No, it was. It really was. I mean, yeah, it's definitely awe-inspiring to put yourself out there physically and then see these just the beauty of the planet, and to think about experiencing it in that way, and also feeling like you're doing something to preserve it. Because we are when we're out there raising funds, whether it's for national, whatever charity it's for. I mean, all the beneficiary organizations at Climate Right are really trying to preserve our home, and it's really important stuff.
And that ride, very much so, reminded you constantly about how beautiful our state is and how much we need to work to preserve it, because it is so beautiful and has so much to offer people.
Great.
Right.
Well
I
put.
agree. This is Michael. There was not a non-beautiful moment, I think, on the ride.
Well, maybe one, Michael.
I don't know. Even the climbs.
I think Michael's learning curve on the ride was not to take your windbreaker off while you're riding.
Oh, right. Yeah. Just wanted to.
Oh, inside story. Come on, you got to tell us what happened.
I had a wardrobe malfunction on day one, and it resulted in an endo at around like mile 75, in which I ended up tearing a ligament in my wrist amongst other bumps and bruises. So that was kind of painful, but I did it in a very scenic location. I mean, for what that's worth.
So it looked really good.
I know. If someone had a picture of it. But yeah, I mean, the point I was agreeing with what Lori and Kathy were saying was just, I mean, I was constantly looking out onto the ocean and just being in total awe. I'm like, that is the most beautiful vista I've ever seen in my life. And like 10 minutes later, I was having like that same kind of reaction and response to whatever I was looking at. And it really kind of drove home like why we were doing what we were doing and putting in all the effort, and riding with broken wrists and struggling through the training and everything to preserve this beauty, for future. I don't want that to be the last time I get to look at those beautiful scenes. I'd love those to be there for many lifetimes.
Well, that's great. Thank you. So who's ready to go again this year?
I would love to.
Excellent.
There's a lot of logistical hurdles, obviously, to get over to do a ride like this. People have to, beyond the training and raising money, you have to take time off of work or, time off of your families or other responsibilities. And so I was kind of looking at it as, this is something that maybe you can do every 5 years. For some people, it's kind of like a once in a lifetime type of, experience that they can have. But rolling into San Francisco on the last day, I was like, I'm so ready to do this again. I was thinking I was going to do the climate ride, once and I have that experience, but I'm like, I can't wait for the next climate ride because it was just such an amazing experience.
Well, great. We'll sign you up
We'll
right now.
sign you up.
No, but you're right. I mean, there are a lot of reasons not to do it. Oh, I don't have a tent. You know what? You can borrow a tent. My bike's not good enough. I don't know. I mean, I saw people riding on extra cycles and cruiser bikes and stuff like that. So I think There's a lot of reasons not to do it, but there are so many great reasons to do it, whether it's once or every year. And
you won't regret it.
No.
I think that's a guarantee that the Bike Coalition probably can make.
All right. The ride you won't regret.
And he works for the Bike Coalition, so he
That works for me.
Don't put that in the fine print.
That's great. Thank you all.
Thank you again so much for all that you did last year and for taking the time to talk with us again about, or talk with us today about this year's ride.
Sure, of course.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Okay, and that was Mike, Lori, and Kathy from the Team LACBC from last year's Climate Ride. Once again, you are listening to Bike Talk on Kill Radio, KPFK on the podcast. I'm Colin Bogart, the Education Director for LACBC, and in the studio with me is Greg Lemley, board member for the LA County Bicycle Coalition and the team captain for Team LACBC from last year's Climate Ride and also for this year's Climate Ride.
Indeed.
And so really, to wrap things up, we should talk about what's coming up in the next month or two. We know there's training rides. We know we're looking to sign people up. And I understand that you're offering, or there's going to be some goodies and events and bonuses or prizes. What am I trying to introduce here? There's some good stuff coming for anybody who wants to help out with this.
Well, for anybody who is interested in going on Climate Ride, when I'm not working on behalf of LACBC, and Team LACBC is part of Climate Ride, I also happen to run Lemley Theaters in Los Angeles.
Oh, you're that Lemley?
Yes.
Okay, I knew that, but yes, indeed.
And we're at Lemley Theaters. We're big supporters of environmental issues. We're big supporters of bike transportation. We try to be. I ride to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
My father rides to the office every day.
Fantastic.
And we want to do something to encourage people to sign up for Climate Ride and to encourage people to sign up as part of Team LACBC. So last year we had a contest via our website at work, and the winning rider received financial support so that they basically didn't have to do any fundraising.
Oh, wow.
And in addition to that, once they completed the ride, they received a pass, good for themselves, plus a guest to see movies at Lemley Theaters for the balance of the year.
Wow.
So this year we're expanding the
I would do it just for that.
And some people did. Michael didn't mention it, but he was actually one of the runner-ups last year.
Oh, uh-huh.
So while we weren't able to provide him with any financial support and he had to do all that fundraising on his own, he did get a pass, which I believe he made good use of during the course of the year. So
excellent.
But this year we're expanding the program.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to be doing is we will provide via a charitable foundation, the Lemley Charitable Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to provide $2,500 for the main prize. There'll be one grand prize winner who gets $2,500 donated towards their participation in the ride, which means they really only have to raise another $300.
Okay.
Then for two runner-up.
For the minimum, of course.
For the 20, yes. Well, obviously they are free to raise as much more as they would like, and we hope that they do. But that sort of
for that minimum amount
that gets them pretty close to being on the ride.
All right.
And then for two additional prize winners, we will provide $1,250 towards their minimum.
That's a significant chunk.
And then for two additional riders, there's no guaranteed financial support, but all five of those individuals, upon completing whatever fundraising they need to do and participating in the ride with Team LACBC and with LACBC as their sole beneficiary, all five of those individuals will receive a pass good for 3 movies for the rest of the year at Lemley Theaters.
There's that pass again.
There's that pass again.
Nick is sitting here looking at us thinking, oh, man. That's great. I do like that.
So to find out more information about
Yes.
this event, just go to lemley.com/ride.
Maybe you should spell that
I
out
should
for
spell
people.
Lemley.
You should.
It's LAEMMLE.com, again, /ride, RIDE.
Mm-hmm.
And all we need is, we'll need your name, your email address, your phone number. All that information stays private. And then tell us why you want to ride on Climate Ride. And we'll get a illustrious panel of people to judge the entries and come up with our winners.
I was just about to ask, what's the criteria for this? So it's kind of like an essay contest.
It's an essay contest.
It's an essay
Absolutely.
contest. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like who could run the fastest, or was there going to be a hot dog eating competition or popcorn? I don't know. But okay, so it's an essay
we're still
contest.
playing with it. I mean, we can't help ourselves, but I'm thinking, and we're still working on the dates, but the contest is now live.
Uh-huh.
Entries must be submitted, I believe it's by February 17th.
Okay.
And then we hope to announce, we may announce 5 nominees and even let the public weigh in. And maybe, since it's Lemley Theaters, we want to maybe tie this in with the Oscars on March 2nd. Somehow. So the envelope.
We are in L.A. after all.
We are in L.A. after all. But the other point being that we wanted to get this done so that people who will become aware of the ride, whether they're prize winners through this contest or otherwise, do have a good 2.5 months to really do their training, to do their fundraising, to clear their calendars for the event. So whether you win the prize on this contest or not, we certainly hope that people will sign up and participate with Climate Ride, because I'm going to be going, and a bunch of other
you're the
really
team
fun
captain.
people are going to be going.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure we're going to post this information about this and links to it on the LACBC website, as well as in our newsletter. I can't imagine we won't. I'm sure we will.
I'm pretty sure we will, too.
So if you mess up on the spelling of Lemley, you can always go to la-bike.org as well as a good default.
That's always a good place to go for information, and they've been plugging it in the newsletter. And again, we're really looking. We want to get 15 riders to raise $50,000.
That's a great goal
for LACBC. So
once again, the deadline for this contest is going to be February 17th?
February 17th.
February 17th.
Entries must be received. We'll then remove your names from the essays, send it out to our judges, and let them come up with their top 5 picks.
I see.
And then announce among those 5 individuals who gets which prize.
Got it.
By the beginning of March.
And then the fundraising and training begins.
So
once again, it's LAEMMLE.com/ride.
That's it.
That's the Lemley website. And then, of course, there's also the climateride.org if you want to look up the details about Climate Ride. And if you want to just link to everything, go to la-bike.org, because we'll have it there, too.
LA-bike.org. LA-bike.org has everything anybody who bikes in LA could want.
We try. We certainly try. And we should also mention...
I'm sure there are some exclusions on the contest, like if you're a Lemley employee, you probably can't, or a Lemley family member, an employee of LACBC, but or board member, but... for all those other people, other than those 10 people.
And we talked about it a little earlier. We were talking about, like, with Jen, we were talking about, like, sort of the one staff member who gets to go, and we didn't record that part, but we were talking about it off mic about how the Climate Ride is during May. That is Bike Month. That is, like, there's all kinds of stuff going on bike related, and so the truth of the matter is we can't really have, like, probably the entire staff would love to go. But that can't really happen because we got to do stuff here in LA. So it's going to end up being like one staff member. And we joke that it's going to be a wrestling match or something. I'm not really sure, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I do hope that if people aren't participating, anyone who's listening to the podcast, if you aren't riding, if you're not signing up, if you don't know someone who's signed up, go on to climateride.org, find the LACBC staff member who is riding, and support them.
Yes.
With a donation of whatever amount is possible, because it's really important that we have staff people present on the ride. So.
All right. So I think that pretty much covers everything we could possibly talk about for Climate Ride. Just about.
I think that did it.
I think that does it. All right. Well, Greg, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me here.
And once again, you've been listening to Bike Talk on Kill Radio, KPFK on the podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bike Talk. If you want to hear more, go to kpfk.org, navigate to Programs, and choose Bike Talk. On the Bike Talk page, click on the Archives link to play or download shows posted in the last 4 months. Go to biketalk.com and copy or click on the RSS feed link to subscribe. Our Twitter handle is BikeTalkBFK. On Facebook, we are Bike Talk. You can become friends and join our group.